going on, everybody? My name is Ty Cortez, aka Tyco, and welcome back to a new episode of the Tyco Podcast Show. Here with my good friend and fellow actor, Alex Bilbrey. Alex, how we doing today?
What is up, Ty? Hello, everyone.
Today, everybody, for our first segment, we have some more tips and tricks on how to set up auditions, what to wear for auditions, how to just be more confident in auditions. So many tips and tricks that we're going to be answering for you guys today. Hopefully, you guys find something that helps you. Alex, first question.
Yes. So, Ty, what is the best and worst thing about the acting industry?
The best and worst thing about the acting industry. I mean, first of all, look, I don't think I would or you would be in this film industry or be an actor if it wasn't more good than bad, right? Of course, there's some bad things, or some downsides, I guess I would rather call them. But there's so many amazing things and so many incredible rewards that you get along with it. But for the worst thing or downside of it, I would say, man, honestly, how mentally strong you need to sort of become, because in the acting industry, it is brutal, okay? There is no care. It's, did you get the part or not? Once you like, for example, when you go into these audition rooms, most of it's online nowadays, but when you go in person, these casting directors, they see hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, maybe even thousands of actors a day, right? Thousands of actors a day. And you go in there and you give your all, you give the best performance. You've been working on it for weeks, and you go in there and they give you nothing. They give you no feedback. They just tell you, okay, thank you, next. And this, when you first getting into acting, could be devastating. It could be, like, what, am I doing bad? Did I do bad? Why didn't they give me the par? What did I do wrong? Whatever. And you start thinking about the audition. Oh, did I get it or whatever? And something you start learning later on is like how to honestly stop caring, right? Something you have to learn is like, when you do an audition, it's not whether you did good or not, right? I mean, of course, that's part of it. But really what it is do you look the part? Is this the right role for you? Are you the right height for this character? Are you too tall for this character? You know what I mean? So there's so many different things that go into it. That's why you need to just like sort of stop caring when you don't get an audition, right? Like I've done so many, haven't got them. Casting directors, I've messed up in rooms before, right? I've forgotten my lines completely right in front of casting directors before. But it's trying to become mentally strong and like learning that like this is not the last audition I'm going to get. I mean, you have to treat every audition like it's the last, right? Of course, but don't dwell on them so much. You know what I mean? Do your audition, whatever, and then forget about it. Don't stress about it.
Yeah, fully agree with what you're saying. I'm going to piggyback off of it. But yeah, just do your audition, and once you're done with it, don't think anything of it. Just set it, forget it, move on to the next one. There's going to be plenty more where that came from.
Mm-hmm.
The hard part about it is just the countless rejection. Just the no, until you get that one. But that one is still no away. But
yeah, even that one you get, it's like, call back. And then eventually you get it. So it's like, you're going to go through so many phases and things before you finally book something. So like, don't get devastated and, you know what I mean? Just like keep pushing through. Yeah. Continue, Alex.
Yeah. Well, I was saying, whenever you get that one, that's a magical feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And that is one of the best feelings in the industry. What do you think?
Yes. The best thing about the industry, I would say it has to be the people you meet. I mean, I think I said this in the last episode where you need people around you. And that is so true, right? You can't do this alone. I said this before. You cannot. But the people you meet along the way and the connections you build along the way are just amazing. You know what I mean? You get to meet so many people with so many different ideas and such different knowledge and different experiences that you can pick up and sort of pick their brain about and try to become a better actor yourself. And that's what I love. I love going on set and just meeting new people and getting to make a project with other people and communicate and try to put our ideas together to come up with something great. So that's my favorite thing about it, is just collaborating, really. What about you, Alex? What's your favorite thing about the acting industry and the worst?
Of course, meeting people and meeting fellow actors, and even the people that aren't actors, the people, the crew, the other writers, the other directors, anyone that is in the industry. Amazing to meet. It's just the feeling of getting the role. Like I said, getting the part because you know that you worked your hardest, you tried your hardest, and finally, after all those no's, you get that yes,
Mm-hmm.
and just you know that you put in your best, you did your best, and you get rewarded for it. You
Yes,
know,
definitely.
what should I wear for an audition?
And what should you wear for auditions? This comes down to the role and the character mainly, right? There's going to be so many different clothing choices depending on what your character is. Let's say you're going for a business meeting. Okay, maybe you want to, you don't want to throw on a full suit. It's just an audition. Maybe throw on like a polo, try to look presentable, right? Let's say maybe you are an athlete, right? Maybe go into the audition with a tank top, right? Maybe go into the audition with some training shirt on or some jersey or maybe even go shirtless sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, these casting directors like things that are different like that. It just really comes down to what you feel comfortable with and what the character is asking for. Something to think about though is no matter what the character says or what the clothing in the scene it says, always remember nothing flashy. Nothing flashy, no brands on your clothes. Okay, this is very important when you're doing auditions, you cannot have no Nike logo on your shirt, no Adidas, no whatever, Jordan, whatever. Like it needs to be me. I have a certain section of my clothes for just auditions, and they're just plain one colored shirts or plain one colored hoodies, tank tops, things like that. Things that are just plain colors. You don't want to have a bunch of you don't want to have like a tie-dye shirt on or something that's going to distract the casting directors and the people watching the audition from you. You want them to look at your face, you know what I mean? Not your shirt or your clothes, so just have something plain on. Also, no jewelry, no earrings, no nose piercings, no lip piercings, none of that. None of that. If you do an audition, you need to take all of your piercings off. It needs to be you, natural you. So that's what I would say wear to auditions.
How should I set up my auditions?
How should you set up your auditions? This is very important, okay? Because this is, like I said, these casting directors that are looking at your audition, like I said earlier, they're looking at hundreds of people, okay? So if they pop up your video and it looks terrible, it's dark, could barely hear you, the background's bad, you think they're gonna sit there and watch your video? No, they're gonna go to the next person that looks professional and has the right lighting and has the right background. Now, let me tell you, you don't need to spend a lot of money to look professional. Okay, my auditions, I have the most basic equipment, and they come out looking just as good as the next person. Right? The things you will need, the main, I would say, three things you need is first of all, you need a phone stand. Okay, you need a phone stand, or if you're using an actual camera, then have an actual camera, stand. You need some sort of stand. Okay. You can't just be there holding it like this. It's going to be shaky. It's not going to be stabilized. Next thing, second thing, very important. You need a background. Okay. Good background. If you have maybe a plain wall in your house somewhere that's just like a plain white or black wall or gray wall or whatever, perfect. Use that. Just stand right in front of that. It's plain. But if you don't have any space where it's just a plain, wall in the back of you, they have very cheap, like foldable backgrounds you can get on Amazon. I think they're maybe like $20, I
Buy
want
a
to
bed
say.
sheet. It's plain, simple.
Or yeah, that's a great, yeah, bed sheet. A bed sheet, just grab it, hang it up somewhere, boom, you're
There's your
good.
background.
There's your background, super affordable, super, super cheap. The last thing you do need is some sort of good lighting. Now, this is where it could be the most expensive part, depending on your situation. Luckily for me, I already had some lights laying around, and also the way my house is, the window sort of brings in a lot of good light, and I have a window on the other side as well that brings in some good light. So it kind of works for me. But if you don't have something like that where you can get like natural light, you need to like buy some lights. There's some cheap ones you could get for sure, maybe another 20, $30, or, there's expensive ones you can get, which you don't really need. Just something that's going to make your audition look somewhat watchable, right? You don't want to just, have some terrible looking audition that you're going to send in because, you can expect them to pick you when you're not even putting your all effort into your own auditions, right? So the audition is in how you set it up is the most important part. And always make sure too, last thing, very important, when you're doing an audition, the camera always needs to be eye level. Don't have your camera up here looking down on you. Don't have your camera down here looking up at you, right? Your camera needs to be eye level. It needs to be looking directly at you, and that's the best way for it. Thank you, Alex.
Yeah. even if you don't have lights, like you were saying, use natural light for several years. I eventually went on to lights, but yeah, there's nothing wrong with natural light. It can bring out your eyes. It can bring out anything. Yeah. Also, make sure you don't have a shadow behind you.
Yeah, that's a great point. No shadow. That is very important. If you have, especially if you're not using natural lights and you're using like lights that you bought, having shadow in the back is more prominent. It could definitely happen more. So make sure you're setting up your lights in a way where there's no shadow in the back. Okay, because that's gonna make your audition look way worse than it actually is. And it also just distracts whoever's watching the audition, right? So just make sure no shadows. Great point, Alex.
And how should I build confidence for an audition?
How to build confidence in auditions. Now, this comes down to the kind of person you are, right? There's many different things. I'll tell you what I do to gain confidence for me personally is, first of all, again, I think every time, I'm gonna go back to what I said earlier, right? It doesn't always mean when you do an audition and you don't get it that it was your fault or you did bad, right? Sometimes it just wasn't the right place, wasn't the right time, right? Maybe the character, they were looking for something else. Maybe your hair wasn't what they were looking for, or your eyes, or whatever it is. So me, especially when I'm going to in-person auditions, I used to get very nervous. And even now I still get kind of nervous, but I try to always remember that, like, I'm going to go in there, do as best as I can. I'm going to put my performance on the best I know how. And if I don't get it, I don't get it. I'm going to forget about it because it wasn't for me, right? And if I do get it, then it was for me, right? So I always try to remember that. And that kind of brings down the nerves is because it's like, no matter what happens was for a reason, right? God made that happen for a reason. So that kind of helps me, like, sort of bring my confidence up a little more. I'm going to also say for confidence, and this is a very important thing, my dad gave me this piece of advice since I was very young. And he said, there's a thing called the 6 Ps, right? You might be like, what the hell is 6 Ps, right? The 6 Ps that he taught me was proper planning prevents pitiful poor performance. And this can apply to anything in life, not just your acting. This will bring your confidence up because when you're prepared, you don't have to get prepared. When you're already ready, you don't have to get ready, right? So when you know you have an audition or if you have to go somewhere to perform or whatever, make sure you're 100% prepared, okay? Don't go in there and like, oh, I'll read this some other time or I'll practice later or whatever, because then you go to that audition room and you mess up. It's happened to me before. And now your confidence really goes down because you think you suck because you just messed up in front of all these people, right? And you don't want that. So always be prepared. Always be ready for any audition that could come your way.
Know your lines is number 2. Knowing your character is the most important part because if you know your character, then everything else will fall into place. Lines will come easier and, you'll just be less stressed out. Once I started, I was like, man, these lines are most stressful thing. I kept worrying about the lines. But then once I figured out, man, I need to start figuring out this character, then everything started becoming easier and then easier the next time. So
yeah,
know your character.
That's a great point you bring up because that's exactly what I used to do too when I first started. Like you were saying, like I would go in and just like learn the lines, memorize it, and be like, oh, I'm good. I can go in there. I know my lines or whatever. And then you go and do the audition and you're playing the scene completely different than how it's supposed to be played because all you did was go through and try to memorize the lines, like Alex was saying. Yeah, you're just reciting. You're just reciting a scene. That's all you're doing. You're not being the character, right? Like Alex was saying, you need to dive deep into the character. You need to understand what's actually going on in the scene. And honestly, I would recommend understanding what's going on in the story before you even memorize the lines. F the lines. You can learn those anytime. You know what I mean? Try to get the story first, character first, and then you'll be more prepared. Okay, everyone, that was segment 1. Hopefully you picked up some sort of advice or maybe some tips and tricks that you could use in your own life or maybe just your acting.
Damn it, here we go again. Gotta call me a new Benz. Gotta get it with the 10, forever with him, so I really gotta win. Never need a sin, always in the gym. Calling my phone like she wasn't just hitting them, hitting my line, but I'm really not interested. Calling, complain, but I'm at the show. Baby girl, can I get some dough? You need some, but I need some more. Making a hit, then making one more. I don't know, I need couple of those. I ain't the price, so I made it a go. Call me the man, cause I'm gon' be the GOAT. I don't know, but this shit finna blow. Call me crazy, but you better see. Every day I've been building a dream. Every day I've been living a lie. But you better see, you gonna read all about me on TMZ. You gonna see. You gonna see when I'm living a dream, living a dream, living a dream. You gonna see when I'm 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 living a dream on the top of the world. It's just me and your girl. Got vanilla and nice. And I'm taking a swirl, I'm taking your girl, I'm giving her pearls, I'm treating her nice and I'm rolling the dice. Is she the one or just for the night? I do not know, but I'm gon' pay the price. Gon' pay the price. Is she the one or just for the night? I do not know, but I'm gon' pay the price. But if she the one, then I put it on nice. Put it on nice. Is she the one or just for the night? I do not know, but I'm gon' pay the price. But if she the one, then I put it on nice. The one or just for the night? I do not know, but I'm gonna pay the price.
Okay, everyone. Now on to segment 2. Alex?
Yeah. You know, a lot of people have their own opinion and, you know, statistics too. But what is the best movie franchise?
What is the best movie franchise? Man, there are so many different franchises that I love. I mean, we're in the Halloween season right now. So, you know, I would say my favorite horror franchise of all time, it's gotta be Scream. Gotta be Scream. You know, Halloween's great, all of those, you know, the Jasons, they're all cool, whatever. But Scream, that's where it's at. I think the new Scream 7's coming out too, so I'm so excited for that. That's an amazing franchise. Also, Harry Potter is a great one as well. I love Harry Potter. Have you ever watched Harry Potter, Alex?
Oh yeah, I've seen. Funny story. I've seen. Aren't there 7 of them?
Well, 7 of them, I think, not including Fantastic Beasts. If we are including Fantastic Beasts, then 10 of them.
Okay, well, I haven't seen any of the Fantastic Beasts, but I've seen all of the Harry Potters except for the very last one. I marathoned them all in a week except for that very last one. I don't know why. I just got sidetracked.
How does that even work? You spent all this time watching all 6 movies and then didn't finish off the last one? So you watched Deathly Hallows Part 1, but not Part 2. Man, are you thinking about going back to watch it? I mean, you kind of have to, right?
Yeah.
How long ago did you do that marathon?
About a year ago.
I think time is overdue for you to watch it, okay? Time is overdue. And then you need to watch Fantastic Beasts, but I haven't even watched Fantastic Beasts. I've watched only the first one. I haven't watched the other 2. So, I mean, I'm sure they're great too, though. But yeah, I love Harry Potter. Amazing franchise. Alex, what's your favorite franchise? I know you're a big movie fanatic too.
Yeah. I mean, awards-wise, Lord of the Rings has won more awards than any other movie it has. Well, okay, until a couple years ago when Anything Everywhere All at Once beat it out. But before then, the actual franchise that had more awards. But then if you look at, again, like you said, Harry Potter, that is geared towards like adults and younger aged and kids. So that has that big of a following. But you also can't leave out Star Wars. You know, who hasn't seen at least one Star Wars movie? And all of them have TV shows too.
Yeah, a lot of TV shows though.
Yeah, all of them have
TV shows.
Yeah,
I think Star Wars has the most TV shows, right?
Yeah, Star Wars definitely has the most TV shows. But so the best movie franchise, it's kind of hard to say.
I mean, like you were saying, if we're going by the critic standpoint, award standpoint, I guess it's got to be Lord of the Rings. Well,
the fan base wise, I feel like Harry Potter.
But do you think? But do you really call Lord of the Rings a franchise though? I mean, I see it just as a trilogy because, and then you have
but
what's the spinoff?
I was about to say, but there's the 3 Lord of the Rings movies, but there's also 3 Hobbit movies that are,
and they're tied in. It's a sequel or
it's a prequel. Well, Hobbit's a prequel to Lord of the
Prequel. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's funny. I was bashing you earlier about not watching the last Harry Potter. I watched the first 2 Lord of the Rings and I haven't watched the last 3rd one. So I guess we both have something we need to go watch. It's because I was waiting for the 3rd Lord of the Rings to be in theaters so I could watch it, because I don't want to just watch it on like my, computer monitor, you know what I mean? It won't look as good. It won't be cinematic. Lord of the Rings is incredible. I can't even try to argue against it with Harry Potter or Scream. I mean, it's an incredible franchise. I enjoy Harry Potter more and Scream, just because of its atmosphere. I guess I love like the wizarding world sort
Fantasy.
of fantasy. Yeah, exactly.
He
Sort
doesn't
of.
love dragons.
Yeah. I mean, no. Lord of the Rings is still fantasy too. So I still love that as well. But yeah, and they have the new House of the Dragon. Isn't that Lord of the Rings? Or
That is Game of Thrones.
that's Game of Thrones? No, there's another one that's Lord of the Rings. Oh, the Rings of Power.
Rings of
That's
Power.
what it is. Rings of
And Lord of
Power.
the Rings is also coming out with a new movie called Hunt for Gollum, I think.
Animation?
No, live action.
Live action, really? For Gollum? A new
Yeah.
Gollum movie? I know they came out with a Gollum game, and that was terrible.
Yeah, we don't speak about that.
Yeah, we don't speak about that game. But yeah, that would be my favorite movie franchise.
But you said you'd go to the movies to watch it,
Mhm.
but not many things are out at movies now because they're all going to streaming. Do you think streaming is killing movie theaters?
Man, this is a great point you bring up. I want to say yes. I don't think it's fully killing it yet. I think, like theaters are not going out of business or anything. Like, theaters still have business. Like every time I go to a theater, I still see people in there, but it's definitely not as much as it used to be. I remember going as a kid with my dad to the movies, and man, it was packed every single time, especially when a new movie came out. That thing was packed. Now, I go watch a new movie. It's like there's maybe me and like four other people in there. And it's insane. It's because everything's going to streaming. Everything's going to Prime and Apple TV and Netflix and all this stuff. And it kind of sucks, honestly. Don't get me wrong. I love streaming too. I got me a Netflix account. I got me a Amazon Prime account. You know what I mean? Like, I love streaming as well. But there is nothing like going into the theaters and having that cinematic experience on the big screen and the sound. There's nothing like it. So is it killing the streaming? Kinda. Do I hope it doesn't fully run theaters out of business in the future? I hope not. I hope not, because I will literally open up my own theater if that happens. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about that, Alex?
Is streaming killing theaters? Again, like you said, kind of not. I hope it doesn't. Because, again, like you said, there's nothing better than going to the theater, watching a new movie. But also, how many movies are going to theaters nowadays? I mean, like back
Mhm.
in 2007, there were, I don't know, maybe 40 movies going to theaters a year. And now, I think handful, maybe.
Yeah, a handful. Every time, like I said, I love going to the theaters, right? And every time I go to want to watch a new movie, I'm like, man, like, where's all the picks at? Like, I've already watched all these movies. These movies have been here for months. It's like, where's the new releases at? But, hopefully 2026 will change that. I know we have a lot of good movies coming out 2026. So hopefully theaters will do better, in the next coming of years. Hopefully it doesn't keep declining. Hopefully we get back up to where we were, which I don't know if that happened, but I hope so. All right, everyone. Segment 2 is done. Hopefully you enjoyed. On segment 3.
All right, guys, we're on segment 3 now. And the first topic for segment 3 is, what is the difference between voiceover and being on set?
The difference with VO and being on set, so many different things. What VO is, if you don't know, is it's basically anything animation, video games, cartoons, whatever. It's anything like in the mic where you just speak. It's just your voice. There's no camera on you. Live action is where you're in front of the camera, you're on set, you're performing, you're doing body actions, everything. VO is using only your voice. Now, some people might be like, that sounds a lot easier. All I have to do is use my voice. I don't have to, go on set and perform a bunch of stuff. You know what I mean? I would say that they both have, their pros and cons. Okay. Because VO, for me personally, I rather do on set live action before VO any day. Not because I think it's better, because I think VO is harder for me personally. Because VO, you have to be so animated with your voice. You have to be so clear. You have to have you know what I mean? You have to be, it's really a talent, the way people can use their vocal cords and create these noises. Even when you get hit in like a cartoon, you got to make that noise. You know what I mean? It's like hard, you have to have all these different sort of talents for VO, voice changing, whatever it is. On set, I love that way more because I can just, use my body and things like that. I like to be on camera or whatever. But yeah, VO, definitely very different than being on set. What do you think about that, Alex?
Yeah, I fully agree. Being on set, I've never done voiceover. I've done like 2 voiceover auditions.
And what was your experience with those 2 VOs that you did?
Yeah, I found them rather difficult because I'm used to, standing up and portraying with my body and my hands and my voice. But with this, I just had to portray with my voice, and I was sitting in a chair in my closet, so there was no echo. In a regular audition, I can visualize, I can see what's going on. But with this, it was just harder, I guess. It was more difficult. Yeah, I don't know how people that do voiceover for a career professionally do it, because man, it'd be so taxing on your voice. And again, like I just said, you have to visualize what you're seeing.
Yeah, like you were saying, you have to visualize it, right? When you're on set, you can have all these different emotions in your face. You can use your eyes and use your mouth and use your, whatever to express some sort of emotion, right? When you're doing VO, there's no camera on your face. There's nothing you can do with your face to make the audience feel what you're trying to say or whatever. So you have to put all that emotion and all the things that you would do with your face into your voice. How are you going to do that? Exactly. That's the hard part about it. How can you make your voice and your words and the things you're saying more expressive and have more feeling into it, right? That's why being and doing VO is so difficult in my opinion, is because, when I'm on set, I can, like do a bunch of different things with my face or my body. With VO, if you're happy or mad, you have to really express that. You have to really use your voice and say what you have to say in a way that it expresses to the audience through animation, which can be a lot more difficult. Thank you, Alex.
Why is social media so important when it comes to acting and this industry?
Yeah, definitely. That's a great question. Very important question, especially for today's times. Yes, back in the day, acting was acting. If you were an actor, you were an actor, right? That's all you had to do, mainly. Go on set, do your thing, whatever, be a star. That's it. Nowadays, it's like you can't just be an actor, right? I can't just work on my craft. I can't just practice being an actor and hopefully one day I get something anymore, right? For example, look at this podcast I'm doing, right? Because social media is so important. Look how many people are starting podcasts nowadays. Everybody is. Why? Because social media and having a following is so important. You think when you go to these auditions and you send in an audition to a casting director, you think the first thing they look at is how good you are? Hell nah. You know what they're doing? They're opening up their phone, they're going to Instagram, they're typing in your name to see how many followers you have, to see what kind of fan base you have, and see what videos you post. That's what they're doing, right? Because, it sucks to say, but they don't care about talent anymore. They care about following, they care about views, they care about money, they care about what's going to bring them in the most money. And what's going to bring them in the most money? People that already have some sort of level of fame or clout or whatever it is, some sort of following already. That's why social media is so important. Think about that, Alex. You
Yeah,
agree?
they would pick someone that has 100,000 followers, a million followers, even 50,000 followers over you, because, they will bring in more people to watch them over you who might have, I don't know, 1,000 followers, 1,500 followers.
Right.
They will pick the other person because they can bring in, like you said, more money, more people to watch them. They will tell their friends, it'll build up. They will put a bigger name on they'll put a bigger name on the film too.
Yeah, it's about the name on it. Like you said, it's just a bigger name on the credits. And, also, trying to understand it from a business side. I do understand it, right? Because, it's a business at the end of the day, right? It's about the money, it's about the views, it's about, how big can they get their movie, which is totally understandable, right? That's why Nicolas Cage, haven't you noticed, he does all these smaller movies. You're like, why is Nicolas Cage taking these smaller movies when he's Nicolas Cage. He can get these big damn movies in theaters. Why? Because these smaller people love to have him on set because of his name. So you know what? They're going to treat him better. Maybe he can, put more say into how he wants his character to be or how he wants a film to be because he has such this big name already. So that's what it is. Acting isn't just being acting anymore. Acting is building a brand for yourself, right? It's trying to create a fan base already so that you can use when you go into your acting. So you need to utilize social media to the fullest and take advantage of it now.
Would you ever try writing or directing or anything behind the camera?
Mm. You know, I haven't put too much thought about it into it yet, but I think maybe eventually I would, right? I mean, right now I love acting. You know, hey, look, I think being behind the cameras is way harder than being an actor. Me personally, you know what I'm saying? I can just, do my lines and, be a character in front of the, you know, in front of the screen or whatever and do what I got to do and the director would tell me how they want it and I'll do it. Hey, I'll do that any day. You know what I'm saying? Because it's already what I'm used to, I guess, right? But, I see these people and I have friends that are also actors that have gone into directing and writing. And the things they tell me, it's like, man, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of planning. It's a lot of teamwork. It's a bunch of stuff. So I mean, I think if, once I start gaining some more experience in the film industry, start being on more sets and understanding it more, I'm sure when I get older, maybe I'll think about writing or directing. But for now, I think I'm good. What do you think, Alex?
I mean, oh yeah, I would love to be a writer and have my script become a movie or TV show.
Hmm.
Personally, I feel like if I'm a writer, I mean, I also have to try directing. I'd like to direct my own project, my own thing that I've written.
Be like a little Clint Eastwood, you know what I mean? Clint Eastwood, he directed it, he wrote it, he starred in it, he did all his things, you know what I mean? So, that's true talent right there. If you can act, direct, right, all that stuff, I mean, I think you can go to the stars if you can do all of those. Yeah, directing and writing is two completely different things, but I think, once you're in the industry and once you're on these sets, even as an actor, even if you're a background, just being on these sets and seeing everybody do their job, you'll start picking up things and understanding things more. Later on, you'll have all this knowledge to come back. And now, when somebody says, "Hey, do you want to direct this or write this?" You'll be like, I do know how to do this now. I've been working on sets for long enough that I understand how to direct now. I understand how to write a script now. So it's always about learning, gaining more knowledge on these sets, and trying to just be the best you can, you know? Okay, everyone, that was our last question for segment 3. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed today's episode. We'll be having new episodes weekly. Please feel free to comment any ideas or topics or questions you would like me or Alex to maybe answer or talk about in future episodes. Everyone, I love you guys so much. Thank you, Alex, for being on today. And everyone, let me know and comment down below. Peace.